Hi, everyone. It's Amy Stevens here of AZ Weddings by Amy, and I am having the great opportunity today to speak with Erica Benson, who's a pastry chef. And Erica, thank you so much for taking time out to be here with me.
Oh, thank you. This is exciting.
So, I want to just introduce everybody to who you are, what you're doing, and this whole beautiful idea behind wedding cakes, because this is a big part of a wedding and your memories and everything in between. So, let's have a little history about who you are, your experience, and how you came to be.
Well, thank you. Yes, so I had a bakery in Portland, Oregon for 14 years. I sold it back in 2018. It started as a wedding cake bakery, and I slowly progressed into wholesale and wedding cakes and everything. Sold it in 2018. Worked some pastry chef positions throughout Oregon. I was the pastry chef, one of the pastry chefs at Facebook for a couple of years. That was very fun. Loved that job for a long time. And then got really restless and decided to move to Arizona in April of 22. And I had every intention of working in some fancy resort in Scottsdale or Phoenix. And I got a job. To be honest, I lasted 2 days and said, this isn't for me anymore. Um, and about 3 weeks later, I signed the papers. Well, probably about a month later, I signed the papers for Sue Jacobs Cakes in Gilbert.
Fantastic. Well, Sue has been known throughout the valley for quite a while, so that's a very popular name here
Yes.
in the valley. And she has took over her business and you took over her website. So if anybody is wanting to know the website to contact at this particular moment, Sue Jacob Cakes. .com. This is one way that you can take a look and get a hold of Erica and be able to start those conversations about your wedding cake. So this is one way to do that. In the future, you will be having a different website available, and I'm giving both so that people understand the transition as well.
Yes.
So from that standpoint, but I do want to emphasize at the time of this recording that this is the best location to look up. And you also have a variety of cakes on this particular website shown. And I want you to kind of chat about a little bit with the fact of cakes. What do cakes entail? How many hours? What does this look like?
I get that question a lot, but it's a very difficult question to answer. Every cake is different. Every obviously a lot of people ask if we bake them the day of, and I'm afraid to say no. That would be impossible. Um, we have a process of a couple of days. We bake when we're busy. We bake one day as close as we can, as close to the event as possible. We fill and crumb coat the next day, and then we finish. That's usually the routine we have. It depends on, you know, level of difficulty of design, um, all sorts of things. But that's generally our schedule of production.
Well, and I have the website up right now. It's just some examples. I was just kind of scrolling through here to share with the audience, but putting real flowers on a cake. You've got real fruit on a cake. What are some other decorative items that you can share with us? I see that this looks like icing here.
Yeah, we do sugar flowers. We can do all sorts of different things. Fondant ribbon. We're starting to get more into the more modernistic, trendy styles of doing stenciling. Um, we have, we have an airbrush we're going to start playing with more and more. There's all sorts of different ways of finishing a cake. And I've been doing this for almost 30 years, 29 years this year, and I'm still learning because trends change and new techniques come out all the time. So there's so many different ways to finish a cake, from simple to way over the top.
And how many tiers do you find that most people are kind of doing these days?
Well, generally, I would say three is the most common, but with it depends on how many people you want to feed. And then it also depends on if you want other desserts available at your reception. I would have to say the majority of my couples get a very small 6-inch cutting cake, we call it, and then they fill up the rest of their table with all the different desserts we offer.
Okay, so more like a buffet kind of situation. So
Yeah,
they're like little nibbles. Is
yeah,
that instead of like a because I'm one of those people. I like to snack around.
yes,
My
yeah.
sweet tooth gets the best of me.
Me too. We do all sorts of different desserts. We have everything from, brownies and bars to one of our most popular items, I have to say, is our s'mores tart. It's a little 2-inch tart, about 3 or 4 bites. We fill it with our own milk chocolate cream, top it with toasted meringue, and they are the hit of most parties. And we offer all sorts of different flavors of tarts. We have dessert shooters that come in little 3-ounce cups with a little spoon, all sorts of different things.
Okay, so if people don't want to slice a cake, like that's not their thing, then they have other options potentially, depending on
Yeah,
what the couple decides to do. Okay.
yeah,
And you work with a variety of venues
yes,
around town. So you're part of maybe their preferred vendor list, and your information would be posted in that location as well. I'm curious though, in regards to the 1 year anniversary cake, is that still a thing? Do people still do they take the top tier with them and and have that frozen for a year, or how does that work?
well, I'm noticing something I didn't realize is that Arizona is quite the mecca for destination weddings. So when they do that, no, they don't take that with them. But I would say most of our local couples, they're 50-50. Some really want that nostalgic, wedding cake is their first anniversary. And then some, do contact us for a fresh one when the time comes around.
I can't imagine a year-old cake.
I know. I've heard good and bad. So,
Yes, yes, that's so true. That's so true. Well, fantastic. What else would you like to share with any of the couples? Some things that maybe they need to be alert to before getting in contact with pastry chef?
well, I would just say keep your options open. You don't have to have people will contact me and say, I need a cake to serve 150 people. Well, that's great. We can do that. But there's also other options if you want a variety. We never charge extra for each tier to be a different flavor. So that's an option. You can have, if you want a 5-tier cake, they can be every different flavor. I don't always recommend it because then you run the risk of people trying everything, but that's something to think about. But most all the couples I speak to want a variety, either different flavors or different desserts altogether. And I would say if you're coming to a consultation with us, keep your options open. I always send my couples our menu ahead of time so they can prepare for what they might be interested in, and then share pictures. A lot of people think that we're offended by you sending us pictures of other people's work. It helps tremendously because trying to detail in words what you want doesn't always translate. So pictures are great. Doesn't mean it'll be the same, but very similar.
Yeah, and those inspirational ideas. It's the same thing goes with your decor, and you might even want to know what flowers that they're using, because that might have an idea of what they're going for towards the decor. Is that part of it too?
Yeah, I always like to know. I always ask, one of my questions is, what are your colors? What's your theme? Because I may not have to match anything, but I need to know the vibe you're looking for. Is it boho? Is it classic? Is it one big popular one? I'm afraid to say is the return of the 80s vintage style cakes, with lots of hearts and lots of piping. That is making a huge comeback, and we're getting a lot of orders for that. It's not my favorite era, but we do it well. um, so just to get your vibe and what you're interested in is the most important thing. Colors, themes, all that.
That's fantastic. I'm just picturing my big hair that I had in the 80s. Anyway, that's fantastic. And I am a firm believer in gathering all of your inspiration and being able to have that to share with your event planner, your baker, your everybody, so that everybody sees the exact same thing. And then if
Yes.
there's one change, then it can go out to all the vendors who
Right.
need to know about that. So you're not doing these individual type of changes,
Yeah.
so that communication is big, and that is a huge factor with your wedding. You want to make sure that everything is communicated easily throughout
Yes.
every vendor that you're working with.
Yes.
You typically deliver cakes before the ceremony or during ceremony. How does that work?
It depends. For the most part, we try to deliver right before the ceremony. It just depends on how hot it is, which is a huge issue here in Arizona, where it's going to be. I have a couple of venues that we work with that have maybe the room where the cake is going to be set up eventually isn't air conditioned or in a cool spot, but they can bring it out from a cool area, so we can deliver a little earlier. I try to be in and out before your guests arrive. So it just depends. We have another venue that's all outside, and therefore we're delivering right after the ceremony and amongst the guests, and we have to make sure we look prim and proper for those moments. So it really depends on the venue and the heat of the day, all sorts of different factors.
And that is something to really take into consideration,
Yes.
the time of the year of your ceremony and those weather elements for sure. I didn't even think about that. Now, do you go statewide or are you solely Phoenix Metro?
We're mainly East Valley. We're branching out into in Phoenix as well. We have a few coming up in the Phoenix metro area, but we're mainly East Valley, anywhere from Gilbert and Mesa to Queen Creek and Apache Junction. But we are branching out into other venues. I'm not opposed to other venues. Scottsdale, Phoenix, all that. I think, I'd have to draw a limit at like Flagstaff, but uh, we're open to it. It just so happens that most of the venues we work with are East Valley.
Okay, good to know. And you're on several preferred vendors lists, so that is your name may be coming up on a couple's list of vendors to work with. So
We're
please
very
know.
proud of that. Yes.
Yeah, so please know that now if you see either Sue Jacobs Cakes or Whisk and Paddle AZ, you're going to see Erica's name there, and this is Erica. I am so thrilled to finally meet you, and I appreciate you taking time and sharing with our couples about what's coming up, how to really be inspired and get those questions prepared on what they need to be alert to before going in to speak with the pastry chef. And one thing everybody before we end, one thing I get a lot of couples asking me for is tastings. Is that something that you do at your bake shop?
We do. We do offer tastings, consultations. If you are, to be honest, if you are working with one of our preferred venues, we do not charge. If you're not, we do charge a fee. However, that fee does go towards your deposit should you book with us. So it's not just wasted time or money on your end. It does go towards a purpose.
Okay, very good. Thank you for confirming that as well.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't want to eat cake? Come on. Erica, thank you so very much for taking time to chat and sharing with us about Whisk and Paddle AZ. And I'm going to just drop the website here one more time. You're going to start here. This will be it for a little bit. And then you're going to jump over here.
I appreciate you both showing both. Thank you.
Thank you.